Hello everyone, welcome back. In this part, we're going to talk about transform property in CSS. First of all, transform in CSS has two main categories. First, we have two-dimensional transforms and then three-dimensional transforms. Let's cover both of them right now. First, let's say we have simple div right here with box text inside it. And here in our style, we're gonna select our div, and here let's say we want the background to be some blue thing. We want the width to be 100 pixels, and after that let's say we have padding of 10 pixels around it, and we want our text to be in the center and color of our text to be white. Now after this, here we can use our transform property. That here we're going to use our 2D or 3D transformation methods that we can use in our designs. First, let's cover our two-dimensional transforms right now, and after that we're going to talk about three-dimensional ones. First thing that we have here is our translate method. That by using this, we can change the position of our element in our web page. Let's say we want our div to move 50 pixels here in the width, and then let's say we want it to be 100 pixel move to the down. And of course, we can give negative values for this. For example, let's say if we want this to be -20, we just gonna give that, and that is going to be applied. -50, okay, no problem, we have that. But let's make this in the center so we can see the box here and go to next function. After this, we have rotate method. That here we give the degree that we want to our element to rotate. Let's say we want this upside down, and that is 180 degree. And we use DEG for degree right here. You see now our element is upside down. Of course, we can use any other thing that we want. Let's make this 30 degree, no problem, or 90 degree. Okay, that's gonna be vertical. We can do anything that we want. After this method, we have our scale method right here. Here, let's say I want my box to be double. To do that, I can change the width, font size, and other padding and other values, or I can just simply write this transform, and inside in scale method, I need to pass 2. Now, the size of my box is double. Of course, I can use other things that I want, or it might be in my design. And another thing that I can do is to give this 2 different parameters. And that is gonna change the element based on the horizontal and vertical settings. This is gonna change for horizontal value like width and paddings which are in the width. I mean right padding and left padding. Let's say we want this to be 6. You see it's 6 times as big as it's originally. And let's say we want to shrink in the vertical and make this only half of this size. You see, now we can do anything that we want. But let's say we want to change only the height and not the width. So here we put 1 in the width part and then what we have in the height one. But another way of doing this is to give scaleY method right here and then give the number that we want. That is gonna do the same thing that we done. And of course, after Y, we have X going on here. That's going to decrease the width and not the height. Another function that we have here is our skew function. That here, we can have this for X values or Y values. And here, if I give this, let's say, 30-degree angle, you'll see now our element has changed based on our settings. And of course, we can have minus values right here. And if I change this to Y, you'll see that we can have this with height 2. And of course, we have this thing going on for the y-axis and vertical values. And we have this base thing that we can use to have both of them in one place. But let's say we want to have multiple things going on for this. For example, let's say after this, we want to have some translate, I don't know, maybe 50 pixel right here, and then another 150 pixels here. You'll see that now we don't get this method running. To do this, here we're gonna use one other method called matrix. And here, basically, we have our scale, we have our scaleX, then we have our skewy, and then after this, we got our skew(x), then our scale of y, and after this, we have our translate of the x, and at the last, we have the translate of our y, and we can use all of those that we want here. Now let's fill this, but pay attention that here we only gonna give the numbers and not the units that we are working with. These are going to take base units, which are pixels and degrees automatically. For scaleX, let's say we want this to be double. Okay, for skew of y, let's say we want this to be 10. For skew of x, we want this to be 15. For scale of y, let's say we want this to be half of the size. And let's move this 150 pixels to the right. And after that, 200 pixels to the down. Now, you see all of our change has applied and gone in our element. Now let's get rid of this and start our three-dimensional transforms. For three-dimensional transforms, we have three main methods that we can work with them. First one is our rotateX parameter, that here we can give this what angle that we want our div to be rotate. Let's say here I want my element to rotate 180 degree. Now you see our change has been applied. Of course, we can have other values that we want. Let's say we want this to be 60 degree. You see how it has changed. After rotateX, we have our rotateY. That's gonna change based on the y-axis and show this to us. Of course, here, if I change this to 180, you see now our element flipped in other way. But after this, because now we are in three-dimensional things, here we have another z-axis that we can work with this. And here, if I change this, for example, 30 degree, you see now I can change and rotate my element. But you know that we can do the same things with our two-dimensional transforms too. Okay, let's get rid of these. And here, let's say we select our div and give this a simple background of blue and color of white. But let's add another hover to this div. And in this mode, we want our text align to be centered. We want some padding for the all sides. Let's say 4 ramp is good here. And let's say we want some border radius going on. 10 pixel is enough in this case. And let's add our cursor to be pointer when we hover on this. You see, we have this effect. But this is very solid rock and in the moment changing from one thing to the other. And that's not very user-friendly. To fix this issue, we are going to use transitions. For example, here, we're going to select our div here. And here, if I give this some transition, you see the difference. First thing that we're going to apply to this is what thing you want to be targeted in this property. For example, let's say we want the padding to be target in our transition and how much time we want that to be applied. Let's say we want this to be applied in 3 seconds. Now you see, if I hover on this, it's going to take 3 seconds to do the thing. And if I go out, again, it took 3 seconds to act our transitions. But let's say here we have some change in our background. And when we hover on this, the background is going to be black. But you see, this is not affected. And that's because we didn't have targeted that in our transition property. So to add that, we use simple comma right here. And after this, we're going to add our background right here. And after that, the time that we want. Let's say we want this to take 2 seconds to act. And now you see, if I hover on this, there is going to take 2 seconds to my background to change from blue to the black. And it's going to be 3 seconds taking to our paddings adjust. But you see, this is just normal speed of changing things and not very different by the time of 1 to 2 in padding, for example, to the time between 2 and 3. So here, let's say we selected only our padding, and here we can use some transition timing functions that these are going to change how our transition is going to be applied. For example, here, if I add my translation timing function here, I have some values. First one is our linear, basic, simple one that you know that we had. And that is just going to adjust that with static and fixed speed. But after this, we have something called ease. And what is this? You see, it has changed the speed of changing. Pay attention, total time is going to take 3 seconds. But how it reacts is changing right here. After this, we have this is followed by hyphen and in. You see now we have another type of transition right here. And after this, we have the same thing, but for the out. You see now we're going to start faster and then go slowly. And after this, we have is in out in the same time. And you see now this is going to start fast, then make a little slowly, and then change things again faster. After this, we have another thing called transition delay. And what is this? Is basically if I give this 3 seconds too. Now what this is basically you see when I hover on the element, it's gonna wait 3 seconds and then start the transition. So it's the delay before my hover. And you see, if I make my mouse away, it's gonna take again 3 seconds to change the element. But let's say here we have some transforms going on. For example, let's say we have this rotate and we want to rotate it 30 degrees. But when we hover on our element, now you'll see when I hover on this, we got this thing going on, then delay of our element to change the padding, and this is going to be shown. So if I add my transform for my transition, here you can see if I give this, for example, 5 seconds, you see if I hover this, and that is going to wait 3 seconds first and then took 5 seconds to apply my transform. And we can do all of this in one simple shorthand of transition. And that is going to, first we're gonna select what we want. Let's say we want padding in this case. Then we will have the duration of what we want. Let's say we want this to be in 2 seconds. Then what is our translation timing function is going to be. Let's say we want this to be in the ease in. And after this, we can have our transition delay. I'm gonna give it 1 second. Now you see, if I hover on this, the thing is going to apply. And if I just comment out this rotate, you see now our thing is going to be applied just in one line. Please give a like and subscribe to catch next videos.